What's the cost of losing your temper in a negotiation? What's the price of taking a business risk because your ego demanded it? Most people think success is about talent, timing, or luck. But the truth? It's about self-control. The difference between a self-made millionaire and someone still stuck in the same cycle is often invisible. It's not intelligence, not education. It's emotional discipline, the ability to pause instead of react. To respond with clarity instead of chaos. In business, you don't get paid for how you feel. You get paid for how you perform under pressure. In life, no one rewards your outbursts. They remember them. No one forgives your insecurity. They sense it and withdraw. Here's the harsh truth: you will never control outcomes, markets, or people. But you can master your emotional state, and that changes everything. This video isn't just about staying calm. It's a tactical breakdown of emotional control, the 15 habits, mindsets, and psychological techniques that separate the composed from the chaotic, the respected from the reactive, the leaders from the lost. By the end, you won't just understand emotional mastery, you'll know how to build it, live it, and weaponize it in both business and life. Let's begin. 1. Master the first 5 seconds. Every meltdown begins the same way, in the first 5 seconds. That's when your body floods with adrenaline. Your thoughts race, your clarity disappears. And if you react from that place, you almost always regret it. High performers know this. So they build a buffer zone before they speak. They breathe. Before they react, they command themselves, pause. Wait, think. Sometimes they say, "Let me get back to you." Not to stall, but to regain control. That space, it's power. Because he who controls the first 5 seconds controls the outcome. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be present. Control doesn't start with meditation. It starts the moment you feel triggered. 2. Separate emotion from identity. There's a world of difference between "I'm angry" and "I feel anger." Most people don't make that distinction, and that's the problem. They confuse emotion with identity. They think a passing storm defines who they are. But emotionally strong people step outside the fire. They observe it, name it, and let it burn out without stepping inside. It's the difference between being inside a burning building and watching it from a safe distance. You are not your fear. You are not your rage. You are not your self-doubt. You're the one witnessing it. This subtle shift changes everything. Because once you stop believing every emotion is you, you begin to gain power over it. You stop reacting like a puppet and start responding like a master. 3. Build a trigger journal. You can't fix what you won't face. You can't control what you won't name. That's why elite performers track their emotional data. It's called a trigger journal. Every day, they log what set them off. Was it that email, that tone of voice, the feeling of being disrespected? They don't just notice the emotion, they analyze the pattern. What time did it happen? What thought preceded the reaction? What belief was underneath it? Over time, the chaos becomes visible, predictable, manageable. It's not a diary of weakness. It's a blueprint of control. What gets measured gets mastered. And if you're serious about emotional strength, you need to know your battlefield. Track your triggers, study your responses. Refine your reactions. That's how you stop being ruled and start ruling. 4. Delay the reaction, not the response. There's a difference between silence and composure, between freezing and aiming. Emotional control doesn't mean bottling it up. It means choosing the right moment to strike. When you feel triggered, you pause. You breathe, you get clear, then you respond. Not from rage, not from fear, but from power. It's like pulling back an arrow. You're not retreating, you're calculating. Because the strongest response isn't the fastest, it's the one that lands. Weak people explode, strong people decide. So next time someone pushes your button, don't go quiet out of fear. Go silent out of strategy. You're not running, you're preparing. That's the difference between reaction and leadership. 5. Use zoom out perspective. In the heat of a moment, your world shrinks. You feel betrayed, insulted, cornered, but pause, breathe, and ask, will this matter next week? In 5 years, will I even remember this? Most things that trigger you are passing storms, but emotion makes them feel like permanent tsunamis. High performers train a reflex, zooming out. Like a drone rising above the chaos, they see beyond the sting of the present. Because time reveals what ego obscures. Your boss's tone, that argument with a stranger? The traffic jam that made you yell? None of it will matter in the story of your life, but how you handled it might. Zooming out isn't apathy, it's wisdom. Perspective is emotional oxygen. It gives you space to breathe and choose clarity over chaos. 6. Practice pre-rehearsed phrases. When emotions rise, language collapses. You say what you didn't mean, or worse, nothing at all. But leaders don't improvise emotionally. They train, they prepare, they preload phrases for pressure, like, let me process that. Thanks for sharing, I'll reflect on it. That's worth considering. These aren't avoidance lines. They're emotional shock absorbers. Pre-rehearsed phrases break the chain reaction. They give your mind a buffer between stimulus and response. Because when you have the right words ready, you never have to scramble. You don't lash out, you don't shut down. You stay in control. Language is leverage. In moments of friction, your vocabulary becomes your shield. Prepare it, sharpen it, and use it like a weapon of peace. 7. Anchor to values, not moods. Your mood will betray you. It changes with the weather, the traffic, the news. But your values, they're the North Star. They don't sway. Emotionally immature people make decisions based on how they feel. But the strong, they act on what they believe. You're tired, so you skip the gym. You're annoyed, so you snap at your partner. That's mood-based living. Now ask, what does my future self stand for? Discipline, integrity, growth. That's values-based living. A calm mind isn't enough, you need a compass. Because in chaos, clarity comes from alignment. Don't let emotions decide your future. Let values do it. Don't make permanent decisions on temporary emotions. Write that down, then live by it. 8. Train the emotional recovery muscle. You got triggered. You lost it. You spiraled. Okay, now what? Because the real skill isn't avoiding every emotional storm, it's recovering fast. Winners don't stay off balance. They snap back, they reset, breathe work, cold water, change of environment. Walks, movement, you have to build a toolbox, a system, an emotional bounce back ritual. Because no one stays regulated 24/7, not even monks. The pros, they just return faster. They catch themselves mid-fall, you fall 7 times. You rise 8, that's the game. Emotional control isn't about being unshakable. It's about being unbreakable, and recovery is the bridge. Train it. Because the speed of your return determines the strength of your control. 9. Build calm under chaos wraps. Composure isn't something you find. It's something you forge. Like muscle, it grows under tension. Cold showers, tough conversations, tight deadlines, awkward silences. Each time you face discomfort without flinching, you get stronger. That's not suffering, it's training, because the goal isn't to avoid stress, it's to adapt to it. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of preparation. So build stress tolerance like reps in a gym, controlled discomfort, intentional pressure. High performers sweat in practice, so they bleed less in battle. Train in peace, so you bleed less in war. Emotional control isn't a talent. It's forged, and every small rep counts. 10. Observe, don't absorb. Emotional strength doesn't mean you're cold, it means you don't catch every storm. Imagine watching rain pour outside a window. That's observation. Now imagine stepping into it without an umbrella. That's absorption. Most people confuse empathy with entanglement. They absorb tension, anger, sadness, and make it theirs. But the emotionally mature? They witness, they hold space without losing center. In business, in family, in conflict, they stay grounded while others spiral. Because they've trained the boundary, that emotion is theirs, not mine. Just because someone throws chaos at you doesn't mean you have to catch it. Stay behind the glass, offer clarity, not reaction. That's not detachment, that's wisdom. You're not here to absorb the world. You're here to influence it. 11. Rehearse. Hard scenarios never. The body panics when the mind is surprised. So stop waiting to be blindsided. Instead, rehearse. Visualize the hard stuff. The rejection, the negotiation, the moment they push your buttons. Now see yourself handling it with grace. Calm tone, grounded posture, steady breath. Athletes run plays before game day. Pilots simulate emergencies before real flights. You should do the same. For your emotions, mental rehearsal shrinks fear. Your nervous system has already seen the storm, so it doesn't flinch when it hits. That's the secret. You prepare quietly, so you perform powerfully. Train your mind ahead of time, and your body will follow when it counts. 12. Disarm ego with curiosity. Your ego wants to win. Your emotions want to react, but curiosity, it wants to understand. And in that shift, everything changes. You feel triggered. But instead of snapping, you ask, what's really going on here? You're about to defend yourself, but instead, you lean in. Tell me more. Curiosity overrides ego. It slows the spiral, disarms the pride, and creates space to connect, not combust in arguments, in business, in love. This one habit softens tension like nothing else. Because you can't be genuinely curious and emotionally reactive at the same time, curiosity is the cure for judgment. Memorize that, then use it to turn conflict into clarity. 13. Use the pause then pivot model. Here's the framework. Pause, reflect, pivot. 3 words, a lifetime of emotional control. You feel the rush, anger, fear, insult, but instead of reacting, pause. Even 2 seconds of stillness breaks the reflex. Then reflect, what's the real threat? Is this ego, old fear? A real danger, or just discomfort? Now pivot. Choose the most composed, aligned response. Not perfect, just intentional. Most emotional outbursts? They're just unpaused reactions, impulse on autopilot, but every powerful decision, it starts with space, those 2 seconds between stimulus and response. That's where self-mastery lives. So slow it down, pause, reflect, then pivot like a leader. 14. Reframe the narrative instantly. Emotion follows story. If the story is they disrespected me, you feel rage. But if the story becomes they're projecting pain, you feel calm. Same moment, different lens. That's the power of reframing. It doesn't deny reality, it reclaims authorship. Instead of this is unfair, try this is feedback. Instead of I failed, try I'm still in process. Mental agility isn't pretending, it's pattern breaking. And emotionally intelligent people, they rewrite the script in real time. Because the brain believes whatever story you feed it, change the story, change your state. That's not delusion, it's leadership. Narrative is your steering wheel. Grip it. 15. Make emotional control your brand. Let this be your signature. Come under fire. Grounded in chaos, not because you never feel, but because you know how to feel without flailing. That's power, and in a world addicted to drama, power is rare. People start to notice he never overreacts. She doesn't take the bait, they stay solid, even under pressure. That becomes your brand. Clients trust you, teams follow you, opportunities find you, not because you're loud, but because you're stable. So build that brand, not just for success, but for peace. Let your presence calm rooms, let your energy invite safety. Emotional control isn't just a tactic, it's a legacy. Make it yours.